Good afternoon, everyone. I had that moment, moment when it clicked. The moment was that minute when I looked at my screen, at my terminal window, where I just typed in the question before, how can large corporations keep up with the speed of technological development? And the natural language generation model that I just created before gave me an answer. It was on a chatbot. No one had ever asked that question before, and it was actually not in the data, the answer. And it gave me an answer. Albeit the grammar and punctuation was a bit poor, but the content was spot on. And that was the moment I knew artificial intelligence is not a buzz. It's quite real, and it will change everything. I had understood AI as far as you can understand AI before. I looked at many startup investment opportunities in the area of digital health, which is a playground for artificial intelligence. I even founded a startup company that heavily relies on an AI algorithm. And I also understand the basic math and statistics concepts as a teacher at engineering school. But there is still this one moment when you realize that you have to take this personally. When it actually hits you and you see like, okay, I have to think about this. Because for me personally, that means who needs consultants in the future and what are they going to do? So, as a sailor, I compare this to reading the weather forecast. You see the isobars, they're very close next to each other, so you clearly say, well, this is a storm. You understand this. But it's something different when the very same storm hits your boat. Because then it's down to you and your crew actually to react and decide whether you're going to fight that storm or are you going to win the race because of the storm. And I would hope that you had that moment when AI hit your organization and then you had reacted with your team and said, okay, let's hoist the spinnaker to win this race, because you have realized that this race is different, and this is how actually it's the same with AI. And today I want to share this idea with you that with AI, the power comes that you can actually rethink your entire business. So why is that? Because AI gives you the opportunity to activate assets that you have in your company and create something completely new. You have to pair this with the imagination, creativity, and knowledge of your organization to create something, a new business model, and venture out in other areas you haven't been before. So I'm not talking about how you could use artificial intelligence to optimize your operational business. Obviously, yes, that's possible. But I'm more talking about the opportunity to use artificial intelligence to create something completely new to your organization. So let's make this a little bit more practical as an example. Say you are an insurance company. You're offering supplementary dental health protection insurance. So how does it work? There are people that hand in claims. These claims usually consist of an X-ray, the diagnosis of the doctor, and a treatment plan that is suggested. You have your internal reviewers, they are looking at the claim, they write their own assessment, write their own report, and then the claim is either rejected or granted. Well, now it's very tempting, of course, to substitute the doctors that are reviewing it by some natural language processing, natural language generation, and a good computer vision model. But here's the point. You could also be the company that produces the best X-ray machine for dentists. Your software would suggest to the dentist, when they had done the X-ray in their practice, what probably the diagnosis is and what the recommended treatment plan is. So your model has learned from thousands and 10,000s of real cases, plus that all the knowledge of thousands of doctors are in there and the experience, and you can scale this intelligence. So you can bring that same model to any place in the world, so maybe to areas that actually do not have the same standards in healthcare that we have. And the beauty is that there is a man in the loop. So doctors review the suggested treatment plan, the diagnosis, look at the X-ray, and they can amend it. So maybe there are new treatments, and these new treatments are going to be picked up by the model, and so it is self-learning in a way. This illustrative case is just there to demonstrate how a company can create an entirely new model, a business model based on the assets they have, the data, and that model could actually be larger than the current business. The bad news is you will experience a lot of competition from someone you would have never thought of. So, but how can we fully exploit the opportunity of artificial intelligence and our data? I think there are three important aspects. So first, we have to make artificial intelligence tangible. Second, we have to look at data from a different perspective. And third, we have to be very open. I think one of the big challenges in artificial intelligence is that it's so intangible. So how can you convince someone of the opportunity if you cannot touch it, you cannot show it, it's very hard to demonstrate it? And knowing that our society is also very reluctant on adopting new technologies. A lot of people cannot actually envision the future and believe how quickly technology will change their personal lives. So, can you remember the moment when you were holding your first smartphone in your hand? For most of us, that is 10, 11 years ago. At that moment, mobile did not exist. There was no mobile advertisement, or mobile commerce, mobile first. It didn't exist, there was a niche. But now every one of you can easily name 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 business models that wouldn't have been possible without the smartphone. And that was only 10 years back. But there was one big difference here. That revolution was very tangible. You could hold a phone in your hand, you could show your client, your customer, and say, look what it does, and this is new now, there's an app, etc., etc. So people could actually understand it. But AI is not tangible, and I think we have to make it tangible so that people can understand it and use it. So we at Deloitte, we have the similar problem here. We want to make people aware of, because most probably our business model will come under pressure, or is actually already under pressure, by AI solutions. So, but how can you actually make people aware? So our solution is make it tangible. I'm going to show you a video in a second, but I want to give you some background on this. Where we have different offices in Germany, obviously, and there's a bit of a joke. So if I travel from the office in Hamburg to Frankfurt, people might say, you want to take a tie with you, because the office in Frankfurt is much more formal than the one in Hamburg. And, well, if someone wants to travel from Frankfurt to the Berlin office, he might think of start growing a beard 3 days before to blend in the Berlin office. So obviously it's a bit of joke, but still it's a thing people talk about. So we want to combine this and make it tangible for people to understand what AI can do. So what we did is, and I hope the video starts now. Yeah, we placed a camera to our elevators, and our algorithm identified what people wear. And we display this so everyone can understand what computer vision is and think about something, what they can do. What else we did, we placed iPads in our kitchens, and our employees, they can produce training data on a natural language processing model, so that this model can actually help them executing a task that they would usually do manually. So by this, we want to show to our teams what it means to actually teach a machine to do something. So that's our approach, how we want to make AI a little bit more tangible. My second point is perspective on data. So yes, it said data is the new oil, which I personally do not agree with, because I think economically data and oil have more differences than similarities. But if you say there is AI and AI is a machine, then it's true, it needs to be fueled, and that is data. But the problem is you cannot buy data on a spot market. It doesn't have a price and doesn't come with a predefined quality. In fact, a lot of data produced today now in our organizations is just a byproduct. A lot of data is produced by sensors, by our systems that we need to run our operational business. And I want to urge that we should start thinking about these byproducts, what we can do with it. So, is there someone actually that might benefit from the insights of this data? And I stress the word insight. It's not about data sharing or selling the data. It is about producing an insight from that data. And if you're open enough to see at other industries, you can easily cross boundaries. You don't have to stick within your industry. Of course, you can look at your value stream and you will probably see some areas of application of insights that you have because you have the data and that your supplier or your client would like. But you could also venture into all other areas. So go back to the insurance example. They don't share data, they only sell the insight in a completely different industry. So that requires some openness, because you have to understand also the business models of other industries, and you have to understand where you could apply this. And this brings me to my third point, the openness. If you want to venture out and create new businesses from the assets that you have, you need to have also the attitude of creating radically new business models, and you have to understand, or your organization has to understand this. So you need to have bright people, creative minds, bring them together and let them be open and create something. And open also means open to partners, because they might have data that you could use to train your model, or partners because they might have the market access. So you have to look out for others that can help you here. And open also in terms of try it out. So get started with it. Because it takes a while to get this understanding into your organization. And the only way is, I think, you have to create something. Get your first proof of concept done. Get your first MVP. Let other people explore how it works. Because what you do with this, exploring, and have same ideas about this, you will create the opportunity for others in your organization to also have that one moment when it clicks. Thank you.